Meeting is being recorded.
Like he's gonna touch it. I didn't turn off the TV this time.
Good evening, citizens of Stonecrest. This is Greg Wright, and I'm chairing the CID Advisory Committee meeting. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I remember from the last meeting, so it was really hard to get class. Do you have anything else? That's
So we will start by calling roll. I know that Councilmember Tara Graves and Councilmember Rob Turner are not going to be able to be with us tonight. Malika Wells, sorry.
present.
Cordell McBride, I have not heard from him. I don't know if he'll be here or not. Christopher Sanders is not going to be here. Sarah Simpson
Present.
is here. And Renee Bell.
Present.
And we do have a quorum, barely, but we got one. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. Everybody got a copy of the agenda?
Yes.
Last week?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, ma'am.
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye or raise your
hand. Aye.
Okay. Next is the minutes from the last meeting, way back a long time ago. Everybody got a copy of those, I assume?
Yes.
Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion that they be approved.
I have a question.
Yes.
So under new business, which is item 7 in the minutes, under B, it says member Malika Wells confirmed that there would be community conversations with the contractor. And I don't recall the conversation well enough to know that's what I did. Or if I mentioned that there was going to be an event. So I would like that checked.
Okay. I'm not sure how to do that, but I will see. I mean, there's a video out there, so we'll pull it up. But I do remember us talking about engagement, and that was the opportunity to meet with the contractor, I suppose, or the consultant. Yeah. Okay. All right. Would you hand me that orange pen? Hold on approving the minutes until that can be checked out. Public comments. And there's nobody on City Hall to ask if there's been any public comments, but I'm sure we have one person, right? Is that why you are here? That's right. I thought so. You want to join us at the table? Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Marie Colson, 6547 Chuck Road, Real Estate LLC. I've been dealing with this CID committee for over 2 years. Ever since I think it was the last economic development gentleman that was dealing with it. His name is Jonathan Bartlett. And
was 2 we had talked about.
Right, and I've been against this Stonecrest CID that you and Bernie have tried to create the Livonia Industrial Park. I've been fighting against that for the longest, over 2 or 3 years. He was removed from the CID committee because of the conflict of interest, not a resident. The resident should have the opportunity to decide what's going to be done with our funds. No crumbs to you. There's a reason why. I know.
When you say your funds, I'm sorry, what are you talking
funds
about?
Of the CID. When you create a CID, which I wish we can create a community improvement district, not a community industrial. It's not an industrial city.
I'm afraid you don't understand what a CID is.
Community improvement.
Yes, and what is that to your understanding?
Community improvement district.
Right.
That we are.
And what happens if you have a community improvement district?
You asking me? Yeah, you should know what a
I do.
Right.
So I'm asking, what do you think happens to a community improvement? How does it want to become a community improvement?
I know how
I'm gonna ask for just a minute because, and this happens sometimes in the council meetings as well, but when the resident is giving their comment, I don't know if that's supposed to be a discussion or if she's supposed to give a comment.
Right.
So if you can give your comment, and then when you're done with your comment, let us know. And then I'm sure Mr. Wright would like to follow up with you.
Thank you. So I don't like to cut off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Back in, it's been over 2.5 years before he was recruited by Bernie. Bernie was removed from the community committee because of conflict of interest, not a resident. Therefore, he was removed. Jonathan Bartlett and Bernie brought this contract to the, he's an attorney, but you don't get no non-resident client attorney privilege here. He's involved with a lot of things, but his comments and his recommendations should not be referred to the decision of the community. I know he's involved in doing a lot of things with the city, but when it comes down to the community CID, I'm very personal with that. I don't want no industrial CID. I want a community improvement CID. We have a problem, especially with public safety and crime that's going on. I understand I see where they just, McBride is saying that, okay, they gave block cameras, whoop-de-doo. We need policing, we need emergency service. They don't answer for 911 when I'm having a seizure at 2 o'clock in the morning. They didn't answer when I got shot and had to drive myself to the hospital. My kids want to move away. I love Stonecrest, and I want it to be the best. When we have people that don't live here trying to come and divert our funds to do something else, I have a problem with that, dearly. I oppose that creation of a community industrial CID from this Stonecrest Industrial Council. You have no right to be in charge of this because you're a conflict of interest. Your only interest is to get that contract signed. We here trying to figure out what a CID is and trying to create our own. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Colson.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Colson, for your comment.
Are there no other public comments? If there's no one else here.
I just would like to say to Ms. Colson, you definitely understand where you're coming from. And we've been working, trying to get more community engagement because we live here. And like you said, we want the best for Stonecrest. And we want to be able to make decisions for the city that are going to enhance the life of everybody here. So I did.
Thank you.
I think we all feel the same way.
And in the community improvement district, its focus is, where I read and from what I understand, is beautification, safety, and infrastructure. So I'm hoping that will continue to focus on.
We can go after grants and funding to do that. It's been years. It's been stalling this.
There's plenty of resources.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that impresses me from your comment is that we probably need more communication with community about what a CID is and what it's for. So I really appreciate you coming to share this comment today because it gives the new economic development director the opportunity to address your concerns and to really maybe host a conversation with community about what it is.
I represent residential, business, and industrial. My home is where I plan to have my business and everything else. So that's the reason why I'm so passionate about that. Ever since 2 or 3 years ago, when Bernie wanted to do this, he told me, "Oh, you go to East Metro. We already have a intergovernment agreement with East Metro CID. So why get another one? Especially with my industrial business, people on my block don't count." Bernie said, "Oh, go to East Metro. They haven't had members in years, and they too large. How can you make a CID, come to my city and make a CID and leave me out? And take that funding and do what you want to. I need infrastructure. I need streets and roads and lights on my street." For years, I've been barking about that.
Just curious now, have you tried to join the East Metro CID? Because I'm sure they'd love to
This
have
community?
you. Yeah. I'm sure they'd love to have you as a member if you have a business.
December 14, 2021. I've been, my community, community council is aware, overly aware, how involved I've been with this. Now, when you have an economic development guy running the whole show, letting Bernie do the whole control, you got a problem.
We don't have time to go through all of this.
Sure don't. Okay. Want me to tell you about it?
No, no, that's what I'm saying. We kind of exhausted our time for public comment at this point, but I will look through this. And the question remains that I have is if you approach anyone with East Metro about joining their organization.
Have I approached them?
Yeah. If you want to be in a
CID. They haven't had members in years. They
haven't
in years. And they too large. I want us to create our own Stonecrest Community Improvement District. Not no industrial. We're not an industrial city. I know he's looking out for the benefit of his clients. No.
Okay. We're gonna have to call time on this and move on with the rest of the agenda.
I've been waiting 5 months.
Okay.
Marie, if you give me a call anytime or text or email, whatever you want. I mean,
okay. This community committee is very important to me.
Hey, there you
go.
Hello. It's the
yes.
Sorry, you got lost in the other room.
And need your help.
I couldn't get in.
And so it would be a good idea if we could sit down.
We were asked not to sit here at the end.
Yeah, you can't sit on that end because that's where the camera is. But here.
oh, any particular reason we're in a different room?
I couldn't tell you. But I just go where they go.
How you doing, Christian?
So the next item on our agenda for the evening is the introduction of our new economic development director, and I'm going to let him do that for himself.
Well, hi. First, I should be again. New thing. So I've been in development, all kinds, all over the world, but I started my life on the private side for large construction companies, transition in recession to economic development for public entities, kind of found my passion. And so I'm kind of a cross between a urban planner and an economic development person. I understand the private industry from the standpoint of how to get things done to public entity and getting things through and working with public entities and cities and universities and things like that, understanding their processes and getting things through planning. And sometimes it's that balance between community and commercial development and then city that, there's all kinds of different people and all kinds of ways to communicate, and how you communicate with a planner or an engineer versus how you communicate with a city employee or even a city resident, and kind of getting that balance and how you do that is also oftentimes what I find to be the biggest challenge in life and in my career, because everybody is very passionate about where they're at. Sometimes, the engineers think differently than a creative person, but getting them to see the value in each other and work together is oftentimes one of the biggest hurdles, you know, not taking it personally, you know, but, you know, because I come from that private side, I'm used to working with people across many different spectrums and being able to be there and then understanding that life doesn't end at 5 and it doesn't start at 8. So from that perspective, and if you listen to any of the videos or heard me talk at all, I'll tell people, you know, I'm an insomniac. I am up all the time. So if you message me at 3 o'clock in the morning, don't be shocked if you get an answer at 2:15. And my wife and my family is very used to this. It's been our lives my entire career. I love what I do. You know, connecting people and sitting there and creating opportunity and taking that passion that you have and driving that in the community is really kind of where I'd like to live. You know, and so, you know, one of the things I can say, I've only been in Atlanta honestly for 2 months. You know, and Stonecrest is definitely a unique community. But I will say to Stonecrest credit, I've never seen a community and citizens that are more involved, that are more interested, and that want to see it succeed. Normally you have to fight for that. You have to sit there and rally how you care. And I can tell you how many times you have to, you know, publicly reach out to get any kind of involvement at all. And here, there are committees for everything underneath the sun. I spend half my nights here. My wife, who she represents businesses on the west side of the United States, and she's like, should I change to the east side? I was like, no, I think you should probably go ahead and just stay at where you know, we live here and we go ahead and keep working with the West Coast, because I don't think I'm going to be on parade any night anyway, with all the different committees and public outreach. You know, but I think that you hang around me at all, you're going to meet my wife, and they're both very engaged, want to be a part of the community. You know, and like I said, from a development side, you know, I see both enormous opportunities, and I do hear your challenge. And I agree that from a public safety perspective, that there, you know, that we are a young city. You know, one of the things that brought me here was the fact that it is a startup city. I mean, it truly is. And from that perspective, that was cool. Because normally when you walk into a city, it's been around forever. You know, and especially in Atlanta, I mean, this city's been around since way before the Civil War, and so it has its own history. You know, but Stonecrest is really writing its history right now. You know, and so to be a part of that, to sit there and be able to you know, understand that there are challenges, but opportunities and challenges oftentimes present themselves to be one and the same. And it's just about sitting there and kind of taking a fresh look at where we're at, what we're doing, understanding that there are challenges. But these are all things that for me, I get excited about, because I mean, to push for, you know, police, you know, and fire, not fire life safety, you know, to speed up the development process by bringing on, you know, a fire marshal so that we can speed up the development process. We're not hinging on DeKalb County to sit there and work through that, which takes 2 months to get through. I understand. You know, speeding up the development processes when it comes to construction and doing at-risk permits, which then will speed up the development process. And as you know, from being a business owner, the quicker that you can start making money, the faster everything that you want to get through there. If we can sit there and create processes in the city which speed up the development process so that we're actually working with development, not hindering it, then, you know, we become far more attractive, and we can start getting the kind of development that we want to be. You know, and from that standpoint, that's where I'm at. I've met Bernie, and I understand that there is an industrial side to everything. I don't believe that this committee should be focused on industrial, and I don't know if it is, honestly. But I think that from a standpoint that, you know, understanding that there's different market sectors that are here, industrial is one. But, you know, should it take over an entire committee? Of course not. you know, and the vibrant health of this community from a standpoint of being a healthcare community, because you have a lot of health. You know, from the tourism perspective and all of the different pieces that are there with Arabia Mountain and with all of the different parks that are here, you know, and the fact that honestly, when I was looking at meeting with Gia and the mayor and different people and I was did my initial searches, and I'm a tech guy, so I love to look at all the information that I can about a community. And I saw the mall, and then I saw that land around it, and it just excited me, because for me, I like to look at it. So okay, this could go here and there, and for me, I see that area around the mall as a huge opportunity for experiential retail. And so, you know, from that standpoint, I think that there's pieces of that. And for me, I take a three-pronged approach to economic development, which is aggressive business attraction, aggressive marketing and communications, and strong BRE, or business retention and expansion program. Currently training a young lady that's in the department now for BRE, living Ashley. And I think that, and I believe in building communities, but growing people, you know. And so I like taking young professionals and training them into what they can be, you know. And I think that from the like I said, standpoint, I'll hand it real quick, like I promised. I see the passion, and I really love that. I do. I think it's awesome, and I think that there's so much opportunity here. It's not even funny. And I'm just you know, I can tell you I'm very blessed to be a part, be here with you. So
I know we have an agenda to follow, so I'm wondering, do we need to request a meeting with you at a later date?
you can call and text me whenever you want.
Yeah. I think it would be great if we could sit with you and talk about the road we're on and Stonecrest and where we want to be.
Yeah.
And if they're open to that, I mean,
I
know plenty of people that would want to just sit down and just get to know you.
They said, and I mean it. You know, it's you call, text, email. Like I said, if you call me in the middle of the night, don't be shocked if I answer.
Wow.
So and you can test me on that, but you know, it's thing. And then from a standpoint of setting up meetings or anything like that, anytime. You just let me know. My calendar is actually, if you email me, you can actually, in my signature, it says schedule a meeting, and you can click it and you have access to my calendar. So I'm about accountability and transparency.
Wonderful.
So you'll see it all, and there's nothing for me to. I also coming up here pretty soon. I'm hoping to have it out by January. There will be a document called Talking Points, and in that is basically everything that we're doing in economic development, everything that we're going to have a strategic plan that'll be adopted hopefully sometime in the next couple of months. In that, it'll show our accountability and measurables towards accomplishing those goals set forth in that. And then I have a bunch of different information on Stonecrest things and ways that you can, you know, information. So, you know, I like communicating. I like sharing, you know, all the great things that are happening. And I think, you know, I'll say this. I think that you have an amazing community, but I think that we've spent a long time beating ourselves up.
Thank you, and I see it as a diamond. It
is, and but you know, and my mother sat there and told me I grew up in Kansas, so you know, being outside is just part of who I am. I've been working since I was 8. I got my first job breaking horses for a neighbor that was a rancher, so you know, I'm not afraid of hard work and doing what needs to be done. But you know, my mother sat there and used to say, you know, in order to move forward, sometimes you got to pull back. And she used the analogy of archery, where you put the arrow in, and then you pull back, and you're creating tension. And you have to do that in order to move forward with any kind of trajectory at all. You know, there's a lot of great things here. There are a lot of things that have happened, but I'm not a part of that. I won't own it. I'm just here to fix it. And that's really where I'm at. is sitting and assessing and saying, okay, what's the damage? Now where we gotta go, we gotta do the copper cycle. And I hope that if we spend a little less time looking in the back, in the rear view, and looking a little more in the front, you know, we can get back to doing what this city is really capable of doing, which is a lot. You know, and I seriously mean it when I say I'm really excited and happy to be a part of it.
And when did you officially come on as the
September 11th of all days. So,
interesting.
so that was, yeah.
Look the place up.
Yeah. Nothing like coming into light. So, you know, it's, yeah, I find that very ironic. Like, you know, it was, it's been interesting. But like I said, I see all the passion. I sit in and I was watching, and I've been sitting in, watching all the videos, and actually I'm probably like the one person that's been watching remotely, even when I was in Arizona, you know, and you know, I think that, you know, the one thing I can say is that, I mean, like I said, it's amazing the how much this community cares, and you know, and then I see the passion, everything, but I think that it's taking that and saying, okay, you know, what can we do? How do we need to communicate more effectively to get that out? I think that the CID exists for industrial, but I think that maybe it just hasn't been communicated. And from that perspective, we can handle that. We can turn that into something more positive and make things happen. That's what I hope we can do together.
Thank you. And I was gonna say, I know we have time, but I just think one thing, and that's why I appreciate your being here, is I think we, as the city and everything, have to do a better job of communicating. That's one question I was gonna ask you. You can even think about this later. Is how can you, as the economic development director, help citizens better understand the process of economic development within the city? Because I know that's something a lot of citizens are frustrated about. So I just think it comes down to communication and how these different committees and the actual leadership is not communicating to the citizens, because we all live various lives and we take information in differently. So whether that be through social media, Facebook, email, we just have to find that way to have flexible communication. So thank you.
Well, and so you know, there will be a future website just for economic development called Grow Stone Press. If you actually look up Grow Stone Press on your social media right now, I started posting this last week. Everything it's specifically social media channels that are targeted specifically towards economic development. You know, and that's in LinkedIn as well. So starting to post there, and from the, like I said, from the standpoint of getting out there. So there will be think tanks with different industry groups every quarter. So that will be handled there, and then there is a Citizens Academy that is happening right now. I speak on November 2nd at that. You have to have registered to be a part of that, I guess. So
Yeah,
good.
I wanted to be here today.
Awesome. Well, they were but I'm going there with code. So there'll be quite a difference in the way that that is presented, I assure you. But you know, I think that yeah, I don't need a quorum to talk to people, and I think that that's, you know, for me, it's one of those where it's like, okay, you know, even if we didn't have quorum, I'd still be chatting away if you let me. So, you know, but again, this is, I don't want to suck up all your time, but I'm here for you. I'm a public servant. I am transparent. There is nothing that you can ask me that I can't share, unless I'm under an DA with the company, in which case, sure. But I have obligations to the city from that standpoint. But you know, I assure you, there's accountability, measurability are all parts of what we're doing. So, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'll tell you this: if you're looking for a young person to really engage with, that one right there is a good candidate. Email me, please.
I was actually going to do that, so I'm glad I met you today. I was coming on your radar.
Text me if I don't answer you within 4 hours. Text me.
Okay.
That's normally I got average about 500 emails a day. And I try to get through all of them in a day. It's probably why I'm here till about 8 o'clock at night. But everything you can, if I don't, like I said, if I don't answer in 4 hours, text me, and I'll get back with you.
Anything on 150,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Next item on the agenda is the freight cluster plan study. And I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update on what's going on there. This is something that the city is working with the Atlanta Regional Commission to basically analyze traffic flows in and around the city of Stonecrest. And there's a steering committee composed of about a dozen people that are involved in this thing. Most of those people are government employees of some sort. They're either city of Stonecrest employees. The guy that's the police chief for the city of Lithonia is in it. There's someone in the engineering department at the Georgia DOT. There's somebody else in the engineering department at DeKalb County. And basically they're going to be doing traffic studies, traffic measurements and counts at a lot of different intersections, checking stoplights and traffic flow patterns, and trying to come up with a way to make traffic flow more smoothly throughout the city of Lithonia and Stonecrest. And actually it's sponsored by the city of Stonecrest, but one of the conditions for the Atlanta Regional Commission to pay for the thing, and they pay 80% of the cost of it, is it has to include other incorporated areas around. So that includes parts of unincorporated DeKalb County, parts of the city of Lithonia. Basically, it's making sure that everybody can get together, get where they need to go. So we had our first steering committee meeting early last month, and I haven't heard anything much since then. But there is a website. If you look on the city's website in the engineering department under major projects, there's a link there, and you can see all of the information related to the freight cluster plan study. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that it will affect those of us that are in the industrial park, anybody up and down Lithonia Industrial Boulevard, because that's where most of the truck traffic is going. And so therefore we're obviously interested in that. It will also affect neighborhoods like yours, and Sarah lives not far off the industrial boulevard. There's way too much congestion in the neighborhood of Lithonia Industrial and Covington Highway, especially since the Quick Trip went in. And so that's one of the things that we're pushing for, is that whole interchange needs to be redone. We'll see what comes out of it. But anyway, that study is ongoing. There will be opportunities for public comment. So I would encourage you to look at the website, see where those opportunities are, and make sure that you take part, because I know you guys are all interested in it.
Do they have a written plan that the community can see? Because I know that freight cluster studies are supposed to evaluate and assess an efficient movement of goods via.
They look at an efficient movement of goods and people, and that would include things like the bicycle paths and things like that too, because they've got to provide pedestrian safe passage as well as vehicular traffic. There is not such a thing written yet that I've seen, and I'm on the steering committee, so I know that they don't have it yet, but hopefully soon. We're pushing for it very hard.
Yeah, I really want to see that, because it's supposed to look at truck volume, freight generated density, parking density. So we're already getting truck parks, and we've been dealing with some tiny areas between Lithonia and Stonecrest battling truck parks, because you can't put a truck park, I don't think, in the middle of somebody's community. So as they complete this great cluster study. I really am interested in how this is going to be designed and for the safety and well-being of people in our community.
Yeah. Well, this is not something that necessarily relates to the CID per se, but it is something I knew you guys would be involved in, so I wanted to give you an update on.
Okay.
Next thing I had on the agenda is meeting scheduling between now and the end of the year. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thanksgiving evening. And I'm just telling you, I'm not going to be here.
I'm not going to be here.
So I don't know if there's a possibility of adjusting the meeting date on the city's calendar or not. You know, last year I tried that and we could go for it. But if we can get a meeting date some other week, are y'all amenable to that? You want to do that? All right, I'll get with the clerk's office. Maybe you can get with the clerk's office, and we'll figure out something. Is Thursday the best day typically, or do you care?
I mean, Thursday seems to work, but I mean, because the holidays are coming, people start to move.
Yeah.
So if you want to send us some dates, we can look at those.
Okay, I'll see what's open.
Yeah, the only thing I see that's open right now is the week before on Wednesday, the 16th.
I was going to say the 16th because that's a Thursday. That actually looks pretty good.
The 15th, so Wednesday the 15th.
Wednesday.
Yeah, because the 16th, if I remember right, there's, yeah, I've got a film and entertainment commission that night. Then the only night the only night that's open that I can see is council's Monday. Economic development plans during committee, so busy on that night.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday is open on the 15th. I think that Thursday is filmed, and then Friday.
We'll shoot for Wednesday the 5th. I'll try to get that on the calendar for tomorrow, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Now for December, our next meeting would normally be scheduled for the Thursday between Christmas and New Year's. And I'm going to be out of town, I promise you. So I don't know if y'all want to try to do a December meeting before holidays. I know it's tough for everybody. Okay. And I'm fine with that too. Okay, let's shoot for November 15th, and I'll let you know if that's doable.
Okay.
Under the topic of old business, last year we actually put together a couple of project agreements that we sent to the attorney's office, and they sent it to the city staff, and it kind of got lost in a black hole somewhere. And I'm not sure what the status is. Have you been able to find anything on this stuff?
So on the project study, there's supposed to be I'm really going to get that up with the stuff that physically talk about that.
Well, this was something about the Turner Hill landscape.
I emailed Harry.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear anything from you. So
Okay. You had no more luck than I had.
I emailed before we came in here too. So
we will continue. You don't know anything about which one that these two agreements. We had the block camera and what was the landscape project? Both of those are currently related.
Yeah, I know both those trying to think about. I don't think in specific. I believe there was some questions that was raised from the city in reference to who should insure the cameras, something like that.
I know they had
insurance.
They had a question about insurance on the landscaping.
On the landscape, yes. I'm sorry,
yeah.
landscape, yes. So I know there was a question that hang up on the CID, right? Because if someone is kind of paying for some cameras, you know, help the city as a CID, and the city comes back and say, well, you need to insure it. You follow me? That doesn't seem like a cooperative type of situation.
Well, I know that
I don't understand why there's a question about
I knew they had that issue on the Panola Road thing, and I saw the note from Christopher, that they had worked that out, and they signed an agreement, and they got the cameras up and on the road.
That's the cameras.
Yeah.
Right. But there's,
I don't know that deal.
yeah, there's this question I understand about liability, and maybe we can step back. I'm not sure why we utilities liability. Right. It would seem like something you should be able to work out if you have one entity paying with landscape and the other entities getting the benefit, but then it's concerned about some level of liability that, you know, it's not adding up to me versus let's just figure out how to handle this. Because I know that.
Yeah, you can give me till next week.
Okay. Good luck.
Well, lucky thing, I know where you sit.
Yeah.
So I can figure that out pretty quick.
Now, the next thing is the bicycle path study.
Which is, like I said, what I confirmed yesterday was that, and the mayor requested that Harry,
Okay.
For that, so I know that's the plan.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, I went to the last public thing down at Browns Mill a couple weeks ago, and if you haven't seen it, again, on the city's website in the engineering section under that major projects link, they have specific information about the bicycle path and trail study, including all the maps of everything they want to do, and frankly, I was fairly impressed with what they came up with. I was pleased with everything they had. The one thing that I asked the consultant and Harry to reconsider, they did not put anything on there about a path out to the Big Ledge Quarry where we went last year. And I would really love to see us be able to get something out there because it's beautiful out there, and it wouldn't take much to open that up and let people be able to see that. So anyway, they're going to continue to take public comment on that for a very short period of time. So if you haven't already been online, do that because it's there, and there's places you can check off and you can make comments and suggestions and whatever. So please take advantage of that.
So where is this bicycle path?
It's all over. There's bunches of bicycle paths and new sidewalks and new street crossings, and there's a lot of stuff involved in all that. I know you guys have all seen this, but if you ride down Covington Highway, on both sides of the road, you can see paths there where people are walking all the time, and there's no sidewalks on either side, and they're ugly. And you got the same thing on the industrial, and I'm sure there's the same thing in lots of other neighborhoods. They've got a lot of new sidewalks built into this plan. So if you're interested in where they're going to be and what they're going to be, you need to take a look and make an opinion and offer your opinion.
Going in all of the development that's happening in and around the mall area, I'm involved in all of those discussions, and walkability is one of my big pieces. So if there's going to be development that happens anywhere around this area, there's going to be walking paths lit and sidewalks. So
Is the mall in good standing? I keep hearing that the mall is this, so it's gonna be foreclosed on. Is it okay?
seems like it's fine to me right now.
We don't want it to turn into a warehouse.
No. Neither do I.
I know Ohio, I went to see Mall, they closed the mall, they warehouses are popping up. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Give me a little bit of time, I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Thumbs up.
All right. Are there any committee member comments? Sarah.
I think I'm the last person that you could do that. I can go for days. I don't have any comments at the moment. I know I'm kind of working with some members. I know beautification is one thing that we were really striving for in this community. So I'm not sure if you all are aware of Ms. Donna Priest Brown. She did see some of my posts over the weekend, and we did have a discussion yesterday. Because I did throw an idea out in the chat about different ways that the city can focus on beautification. And that's why I was hoping that Councilwoman Graves will be here. But I do believe there's a better way to go about it.
And one of those could be, I think because the city is so big and we have so many residents, beautification is always, because Greg understands where I'm coming from, because my street in my neighborhood is on the back street of Lithonia Industrial, we don't get as much attention, and Keep the Cab Beautiful, no matter how much we reach out to them, they will not come and service the road as often as they will Lithonia Industrial, which just got picked up the other day. So I'm trying to think of a way where neighborhoods that don't get that attention can have that same service. So I think we need to focus on having district committees that focus on beautification and not just one whole Stonecrest beautification committee. That way we can actually not exhaust people if we have the same people involved, because my neighborhood itself is just 3 of us picking up the road in that neighborhood. So if we can create beautification committees within each district and then come together, I think we can actually make a plan that's actually realistic and viable for the city. So
Your community beautification.
that's my interest.
That's your interest.
That is my interest, yes.
Okay. So
And I know
put together a plan that could, on the CID, that's part of what they're doing in change. Beautification, I think, is great from the community standpoint, but I think we can add code enforcement, because we're not enforcing code in businesses. And it should be a standard for every single business to maintain their premises. They should cut it every week. They should edge and trim it. They should cut grass, not weed. And so what we should do is try to incorporate some enforcement code on the businesses. And all of a sudden, businesses themselves start to kind of pick up, and then we work our way to the community. And I think it's easy if we kind of focus on code, because I think we have that already.
Can we talk with code enforcement? A lot of people are complaining about Food Depot, and say the parking lot, trash all over, Publix, people are fussing about that. So code enforcement will be able to.
It's code enforcement because it's standard, which all business is supposed to keep the outside of the presence, just like they're standard, supposed to keep our homes. But code enforcement is supposed to enforce the code of how you're supposed to maintain the business.
And I understand with the business aspect, so I'm guessing my next question will go in, how do we actually, so once we focus on the business aspect, how do we actually go into the residential aspect? Because the issue with my street is when you go into Parkway Drive, even though our neighborhood is on that street, we do not own that street that goes into our neighborhood. So, and Keep the Cab Beautiful, I can pull up the email, but there's a reason why they don't consistently come service that road. So I know with even Hayden Quarry, when I drove back there, it's some dumping back there. So it's like those streets that don't have that main.
Right. Yes.
How do we solve that problem? Because that's the issue that we really want to nip in the bud after we get done focusing on the commercial part.
Yeah, it's gonna be a building block. It's almost like an outward in. And so I think if you get the businesses to step up, you're gonna get pride in the community. Once you get pride in the community, then everyone's gonna move to the next thing. But first, we gotta get the business and the interchanges first. We start one at a time, and then start to kind of grow from there. But yes, I do agree. Once you get outside of that, there are a lot of areas in which we can improve.
I agree. So I think it's just also focusing on the code, because there are so many businesses, and especially with the gas stations, because I can just name everything off of Evanston Road by itself. So
we focus on the street, and force the city to focus on the street.
Agreed.
Renee, you got any comments?
No, I think that we've had a fruitful meeting. I really love your passion, and we will be able to work on building a better complex. So we'll get with Mr. Green and we'll find some good things coming. So that's everybody's hope. I took my brother, I had to pick him up from the hospital. We were in Buckhead and we were driving down these streets. He said, how come we don't have a Rolex store in our neighborhood? I said, let's work on it.
You know what now? Have you been through the mall lately? Yeah.
Not the best.
How many jewelry stores do we have in that mall? I bet 40% of the stores in that mall are jewelry stores. It's crazy.
Jewelry and there's jewelry.
Yeah. Yeah, there's jewelry and there's Rolex. We don't have a Rolex. Well, you got any comments?
Yes. I have a couple comments. So One comment is, I would like to understand what happened to the recommendation that I'm reading about in the minutes. So we made a recommendation at the April 27th, 2023 meeting. And we voted on it. It was a formal recommendation for the council to employ a consultant to evaluate the creation of a CID in the city of Stonecrest. We voted on 5-1. And this was during the time when the previous economic development director was here, William Smith. And what we understood that happened was he went and made the recommendation formally to, that's what I understood happened from him. And yet we've heard nothing about it. So I know we've not had any meetings lately, but, you know, by decisions that were made, we didn't have any meetings, but we also didn't have any follow-up on what happened with it. So I would like to understand what happened to this recommendation and when it's going to go before council so that they can make a decision on it. I didn't see that it made it to the FY24 budget, any discussion of that. I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong about that. Sarah, thank you for your recommendations and your constant engagement. I follow all the posts that you make on Stonecrest, Georgia issues and news. And not a fangirl, but I do appreciate you. And Ms. Colson, thank you so much for your comments and for coming here. And I agree with Ms. Keel, that type of passion is not scary. There's nothing scary about community passion. And if you understand what to do with it, it doesn't have to be scary. So thank you for bringing it here. And I know what it meant to give up. I know what it means because we're in that Citizens Academy together. If you're here instead of there, because we only get to be absent once. Right. So thank you for spending your time here and bringing what you brought. I did want to mention that if we had started this process of getting the consultant and having the evaluation and discussion on the creation of a CID, many of the issues and questions that you brought to us today would have been addressed. So that's a part of what we're here to accomplish. Other comment is, I noticed when, with the move to this room, there's a lot less, what do I want to say, microphones. So when committees meet in the main chamber there, everyone, and they sit at the dais where we used to sit, everybody has a microphone and you can hear it really clearly. When I watched some of the meetings that were happening in this room, and now I understand why I couldn't hear them very well, because you have the one speaker here, which reminds me of the speaker that is that I've seen used when people are having conference calls. So that looks like a conference call speaker, but it's being used for this. So I'm hopeful that, and I also noticed that this meeting is not being live streamed. So I'm regretful that the decision was made to not live stream committee meetings, so that we could get feedback immediately if a community was having a difficult time hearing what we're saying. But I'm hopeful when this is shared publicly, that we'll be able to hear what was discussed and that community will be able to follow the conversation and comment on it with their elected officials or with us. I think that's all the comments that I have at this time.
When did they decide to stop live streaming the meeting? Do you know? That's the first I heard of that.
Yeah, I didn't know that we stopped live streaming.
I'll find out. I have an answer for you by next meeting or the next meeting at the latest. And then as far as adopting formal CID, I'll find out. And if you're okay, I'll email you everyone.
That works.
And we're at. I had heard, but didn't know anything. But so much that I think that when it got dropped, that there's just a lot to catch up on. So I'll find out what the answer is on that, and we'll move forward with it.
Thank you.
Any comments?
No. A couple questions though. Yes. First one is on this committee formed to advise to form CID. It's a CID that we're advising to form that's in the industrial park, the Lithonia Industrial Park.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't extend over here, it doesn't overlap with the current CID.
Right. Well, there's two functions of the committee.
Right.
One is to determine whether there's going to be a CID, and frankly, that's up to the businesses in the industrial park as to whether they want to form one.
Right.
Which that's not been determined yet either.
Right.
But if they do, then the city will have a response to say yes or no or whatever. The other function of this committee, as I understood it, was to kind of serve as a liaison between these Metro CID and the city. But I don't know how much of that there is. I don't get a lot of information out of these Metro normally.
So how about we were to, so we're not to advise the city we should form a CID. That's what
well, the city can't form a CID.
I know, but our committee is to advise if it makes sense, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so in that process, so far we go to advise, yea and nay, will we also have a map, idea what we think the geographic area of the CID?
We can, yes.
Yeah.
Have we done that?
We have done that.
We haven't done that.
I've seen it.
This committee,
Yeah, last year when I first got into it.
was it previous to?
Matter of fact, Bernie Knight gave us all a presentation last year.
I thought it was next to the industrial park. My real question is the plan to overlap with the existing?
No.
So no, stay with the industrial park.
Yeah.
Be smaller.
Right.
All right.
Is that an opinion or is that what it was?
No, that's the way it's in the charter, I believe. But we can check for that.
Who's charter?
City's charter,
City charter.
yeah,
Let me get,
there's lots of questions,
Okay.
Yeah, there's tons of questions regarding that, because
and we
there's
didn't.
one, the CID already formed, and then it's the East Metro CID, so her question is, why do you need another one? And what
I'll talk about East Metro.
huh?
East Metro?
No, I'm saying we already know about East Metro,
Right.
so when we're talking about another
Why you need
CID,
another one? Yes.
why is there? Her question has been, why is there a need for another one? And
Okay.
yeah, so I guess that's another conversation later on.
Well, I sit on East Metro, so I could talk about that briefly. I'm not sure why in Lithonia Industrial Park, but I will say the Lithonia Industrial Park is not in the East Metro CID. Okay, so I think that's those businesses coming together deciding, or that area deciding, okay, we should form our own CID. So it doesn't overlap. But it's up to those businesses, it's self-taxing, right? For the purposes of that particular area. So we have to kind of decide as a committee to recommend if it makes sense. But I think they are choosing that because they're not part of the CID, which means they are not getting some of the benefits that historically when you form a CID, you would get because they're not in the CID.
So can they join it? Can they join it?
To be honest, they asked me the current CID is there. If you have different opinions, it's too large. The current one goes all over the Gresham Road and
It is
Covington
large.
Highway.
It is
I mean,
large.
it's just it's large, right?
It's large.
So that's a fundamental problem. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to undo. But I think if someone's going forward with a CID, it should definitely be much smaller in scope. So that's one of the fundamental problems with the existing CID.
can I ask? I get the feeling that there's confusion
About,
Yes.
what?
about your recommendations, if it's for Lithonia industrial, or if it covers other areas. Is that correct?
I don't know that there's confusion about that. I think that as Mr. Wright shared, the charter is very specific. One of the things we asked about was considering that the city was supposed to conduct a charter review commission and delayed on that. So it was supposed to be done within the first 5 years of the city, and it wasn't. So one of the reasons why we asked for, to my understanding, a consultant was to get into the charter, because it's very specific.
Yeah.
And one of the questions we asked was, is this the only CID that the city can do? And if the city moves forward to create the CID, can other CIDs be made? So those were the questions we wanted to understand. It's very clear that that there is space or opportunity for the industrial committee or community to have a CID.
Yeah.
That's stated. But what we wanted to understand as a community is, because we understood that there were businesses and areas like Ms. Colson's that would not be included in the East Metro CID or the proposed CID. What does that mean for the rest of the community and the commercial districts in there? So that was the question that we were trying to get. So if there's confusion, it's about that.
Okay.
So is it possible that the next meeting, because I'm missing that part, maybe we have a map
That would be great.
in front of us?
Sure.
To understand the East Metro, the proposed Lithonia, and understand who's left out, right?
Great.
And then maybe we have some conversation there.
Okay.
Provide clarification on to why and why not. I think all of it is driven by the businesses. You know, they're the ones who decided to sell tax, right? And the question is, Lithonia Industrial has to decide how they want to draw their map. And those businesses, I'm not sure where your business is. It's closer, not sure where it is, but that becomes the question. But the business itself is the ones who are driving the map.
It's my understanding is that the East Metro CID boundary is Covington Highway.
Yeah.
So basically, you don't have any territory north of Covington Highway.
No,
So the industrial park area is what the industrial council is currently organizing, and that's the limit of ours. We wouldn't be able to go south of Covington Highway because there's already a CID that covers that area. So you would have the one group north and you'd have another group south. Now, I don't know where Ms. Colson's business would be and whether it's within the industrial, you know, or in the East Metro district or not. But yeah, we can get maps. I've got maps for both groups, I guess, East Metro and Stonebridge Lithonia Industrial Park. We could do all of it.
with the starting point. I'll also give you the starting point to understand.
Why can't we just amend or get rid of the East Metro? Amend or dissolve?
Well, and Mr. McBride will probably tell you that that was created that's a function of the commons.
Yeah.
So that had nothing to do with the city. Stonecrest, the city wasn't involved in that process. So that would be something that you would need to go to a board of commissioners meeting and discuss with them.
And frankly, as he said, it's really up to the businesses. They voted to tax themselves to raise money to help do things for the benefit of the community. And I'm not sure why you would necessarily say you don't want people to do that. They are raising money every year to help do things for beautification or security or other things. And that's what the CID does. But the businesses are the ones that decide that they're willing to do that. And because they're the ones that are self-taxing, they get to have a large say in what they're going to spend their money on. It's their money. That's the way the process works. And it works that way throughout the state of Georgia. There's at least a half dozen CIDs just in DeKalb County. And most of them have been very successful. And I don't know how many are in the state now. It may be as many as 20, but they do some good things. And I think the CIDs that we have here can also do good things. You know,
So we have some open questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want our own CID.
I don't know.
The citizens should be the one to determine how the funds are spent.
Well,
blank.
If you can't do that under state law, because the law would have to be changed. You'd have to go to the legislature for that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And come to another. And Ms. Colson, please come to all of the meetings.
I sure will.
Yes.
If there is nothing else, I will take a motion that we adjourn.
I have one quick thing.
No.
We had the cement manufacturer. they're off coverage in highway. They would do the application twice, community raised up against it. And I saw a note that the code enforcement told them they could operate. I'm like, when did they start? Use plan and land use. So we can talk about that later. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's kind of off. Maybe somebody got that wrong, but it's confirmed. But anyway, I'm ready.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion for adjournment?
I mean, we should adjourn.
We have a motion, for the second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Cornell,
Hey, thank you for coming. As well.
Yeah.
I seen you on Zoom.
Sure. Good to see you. Yeah, oh, well.